Hey, it's Cindy and Jan, and this video is about our trip to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, October of 2020, during the pandemic. We took this trip with two other friends who asked not to be in the video, which is fine with us. We found out when we were there that there's a worldwide shortage of bourbon because it's so popular, and we understand why, because we like it too. On our way down, we witnessed a horrific accident, and fortunately, the woman that was hit lived. We ended up calling 911, and they asked us where we were, where the accident was, and all we knew for sure is that we were on 75 South, 15 miles from the Woodford Reserve distillery. I don't think that 911 dispatcher was too impressed with us. We did make it to Woodford Reserve before they closed, 15 minutes before they closed, in time to get one old-fashioned drink. Then we went on to our VRBO, which was located on the Ohio River, and it was a beautiful place for us to spend several days. This home had 4 bedrooms, and we always draw for the bedrooms to see who gets which one. We did cook most of our meals there because of the pandemic, and we went home with a lot of new recipes, and it was fun. After dinner, we sat out on the large deck that overlooked the Ohio River and watched the barges go up and down and talked. And of course, we drank a little bourbon while we were sitting out there. This was the master bedroom, and it was awesome. One of the things we did before we went on the bourbon trail is the night before, we sat outside and drank some bourbon. But before retiring, I told the ladies there's only one thing that they must do, and that is we're going to have bourbon school. I had actually done a lot of research on bourbon, and I wanted them to have an appreciation of what they were going to be tasting and how to properly do the Kentucky Chew and know about the Kentucky Hug. Woodford Reserve was the first distillery we hit the next morning. Beautiful distillery, and we like Woodford Reserve. Then we went on to Buffalo Trace Distillery, and here we all purchased some Blanton's. If you want Blanton's, you can get it here if they have it there when you're there, and you can only get one bottle every 3 months, and you must show your driver's license. The tour there was great. We did a tasting there, and they gave us some bourbon cream that they mixed with root beer, and it was delicious. Of course, we like bourbon cream on its own. And then we went on to Angel's Envy. Angel's Envy is downtown Louisville, and they gave us candy while we were there to go with our bourbon, and it was delicious. This bourbon is finished in a cask that's soaked in port wine, and it gives it a subtle flavor, and it's actually one of our favorite bourbons. And the bottle is slender and tall, and it's a beautiful bottle. Then we went on to Maker's Mark the next day. Maker's Mark is one of the most beautiful wineries. It's big, it's on sprawling acreage, and it has a lot of art in it, which we really enjoyed. And of course, it's great bourbon. It's a wheated bourbon. It has a lot of Chihuly glass in this distillery. This is one of the pieces. Maker's Mark was founded in 1953. We were there in October of that year, and during the pandemic, there were not very many people there, which was to our advantage. We had great tour guides, and it was a great time. At the end of the tour, we purchased our Maker's Mark, and we got to dip our own bottles in the wax. If you go to Maker's Mark, you might want to eat before you go because there's not very many choices of restaurants nearby. We went to one that was kind of a little mom and pop. It was extremely cheap. I think our burgers were like $3. Nothing fancy, but the food was okay. Here's some more of the Chihuly glass. There's a lot of it in this distillery, and I could never get tired of looking at it. It's absolutely beautiful. Pictures do not do it justice. And as luck would have it, Cindy's cousin was a judge in that county, and he told us if we got in any trouble, he wouldn't reduce the charges, but he'd make sure if we ended up in jail that we were comfortable. Heaven Hill was our last stop. Woodford Reserve was one of my favorites. If you've liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and follow us on Cindy and Jan on the Backroads. We appreciate you watching us and following us on YouTube. Thank you. Good night.